Again. Tonight I decided that because it's about 5 million degrees outside that we needed some ice cream, but ice cream, as delicious as it is, can get a little bit boring sometimes. So I'm going to show you how to not only wedge a pineapple, but how to grill it with some pound cake to serve with your ice cream. So get your pineapple. You want it to be as much of this golden color as you can. You know, the green ones are going to be hard and not quite as juicy. And so you just cut the top off and cut the bottom off. And toss those out of the way. Now, we're going to be using our veggie, or not the veggie wedger, the pineapple wedger. And you can do it whole like this. I have found it easier though if I cut this in half first. And, you know, I'm not using a bigger knife because I forgot that I had to cut a pineapple. I thought I was only cutting limes, but so you're just going to set it on top. See, there's the tray here. And these little bump outs not only serve to help lock this in, but they also serve as a platform for when you're actually cutting. So you're going to line this piece up with the very core of the pineapple. And then you're going to rack. Actually, I'm going to start it here on the, there we go. Just do a little rocky rock. And, you know, you can try to push it straight down, but you need to be about 8 feet tall to get the pressure. So you are supposed to rock it. And then you just rock it all the way through. Peel these off. And I'll show you what to do with these here in just a second. Because see, there's a lot of really good meat on there that we don't want to waste. And I'm gonna set that here, set this here. And I will say that you do not, when it gets to, let me show you here. Rock, 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 rock. Rock, rock, rock. When it gets to this point, you do not want to use your hands. And this goes with any of our wedgers because these blades are very sharp. If you try to use your fingers to push them, John is smiling at me, which makes me concerned that I've goofed on something. But you will cut your thumb. Trust me on this.
This is a true statement.
Been there, done that, not fun. Now once it's on here, if you feel like you need to do a little pushing to get it up, that's fine. And so I'm gonna take these outside pieces off. Sometimes you need to use your thumb a little bit to get that core out, and that's fine. You know, just again, be careful. So I'm just gonna toss that there. All this juice, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna toss that in our bowl here. Get that out of our way. And now what we're gonna do is this one, we're actually gonna clean up here just a little bit. I bought this pineapple a couple days ago, totally meaning to do my video then, and it just, life kind of got in the way like it does, which is fine. But so I think that it needs to be done today. So what I do is I stand it back up and I take our apple wedger, because this is going to make this easy too. So then you just line it up again and press down, and then you get all of these really great sticks. And we're gonna we're gonna grill these sticks here in just a second. Yeah, this pineapple needed to be done today. So perfect timing. So how yummy does this look? And again, you can throw this at this point on your ice cream and it will be totally delicious. But so we're gonna toss this in our bowl. All this good stuff here. Actually, I don't know that we're gonna grill all of this, but. So what do you do with all of this extra pulp? You can take your scoop loop and scrape it off, which works really well. So I'm gonna get some of this pulp in here. I don't need all of it, but that works really well. You can also use the corn kernel remover, which works pretty good as well. So you just get it so that the little teeth on there. Can you see those teeth?
Yep.
So those are getting off this goodness too. So we're not going to be using all of the pulp. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss it in here because I didn't think ahead and get another prep bowl ready. But so what you can do is you can save this and use it to do like a pineapple tropical salsa kind of thing. Throw some jalapenos in there. Get that sweet, fruity, spicy thing going. How good would that be? Or you can throw this as is on ice cream. Throw it on some pork chops or some ham. Yum. And you can use our herb freezing trays and freeze chunks of it, and then you can use that to go. I have my grill pan preheating there, so I don't want to let it go too long. I think I'm going to go ahead and just move on. Let me rinse my hands.
Can I give a tip? Can I give a tip?
Yeah.
If your dog seems to eat stuff that's not supposed to eat, yeah, you put that in the food and it stops them eating it.
Changes the flavor of their waste so that they don't want to eat it anymore. Thank you, John, for putting that image in people's heads as they're getting ready to enjoy dessert.
It's a man tip.
It's a man tip. Where am I going? Sorry, John threw me off with that. But you can use the herb freezing trays to make little pineapple pucks almost that you can use in smoothies, which is a really great way to use it. You can also use them, take out a couple, thaw them, and then you can put that on your ice cream or anything else that you would want to use canned or crushed pineapple for. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just juicing a lime right on top of this pineapple. Oh, and you know what? Shoot. I meant to be mixing this dressing in our mix measure import, which is a perfect tool for this kind of thing. But I forgot. So sorry about that, guys. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of olive oil, which is exactly what our little petite measure all cup here is. It's a 1/4 cup. And a tip, because we're about to use some honey. So a tip to keep the honey from sticking to your measuring spoons is to get it with a little bit of oil on your spoon. And so then the honey is just going to slide off. So always measure your oil first. And then the honey, we're going to use a couple tablespoons of honey. And see, this would have been, with our adjustable measuring spoons, you can also scoot the adjustment forward. And these are great. They come as a set of 2 for like $9.75, I think. And you go all the way from 1/8 of a teaspoon to a tablespoon. And they have every measurement in between. And it is great for if you're like me and we're always constantly losing your measuring spoons from the little loop. So that's a nice little trick there. And then I'm just going to sprinkle on some honey, cinnamon, not too much. I'm actually using our cinnamon plus that you can't get anymore, and it makes me so sad. So because I'm a spaz and didn't mix this dressing first in the mix, measure, and pour, I just did it in here.
You don't have to be a perfect chef, you just have to be a pampered chef.
Yep. And, you know, good food comes down, I think, to just simple, fresh ingredients. And you can do so much with it. And, you know, you can't get your hands on fresh. There's canned and frozen that are, frozen particularly is, I think, just as good. So what I've done over here, this is our double grill pan. I'm using it on a glass top stove. I've used it on gas stove. People have used it on coil electric. And I've just set one burner heating over medium. So I'm actually going to turn it down a little bit now. You want to preheat this so that when you put whatever you're grilling on top, it starts cooking right away. And so we're just going to lay these out. Oh yeah, tongs. This would be handy, wouldn't it?
I don't know which ones are your pampered chef ones. Are these ones?
No. Yeah. See, I got my man behind the camera working too. So don't throw this away yet. We're still going to use this. And oh my gosh, that smells so good. Let me rinse my hands.
They need to invent smell-o-vision.
I know. We need some smell-o-vision here, you guys. So I'm just going to check. Yeah, we need to let those go just a little bit. Because I'd actually had this preheating longer than I like to. I like to only do it for about 5 minutes. Because you don't want it to get too hot. Sorry. Can you see me now? You don't want it to get too hot without anything on it, because that can just hurt the finish. So I'm just going to let those go for a second, and I'm going to do the other piece of this, which is, so all this yummy marinade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush it on both sides. This is just frozen pound cake. Frozen, Sara Lee, store brand, whatever. If you have a great pound cake recipe from your grandma, knock it out. But this is a lot easier, and I can keep it in my freezer and have it whenever I want. So I'm just taking our silicone brush, and this is nice because it has a little hook. So between bastings or something, you can hook it on here, on your bowl, on whatever you're cooking with. And so I'm just going to brush this on here to give this a little bit of flavor and a little non-stickness. And yeah, those need to keep going, babe. Actually, you know what? Turn that back up, because I'm making him multitask while he's filming. So this, I hesitate to call it a marinade, because it's not really a marinade, but it's just this yummy, delicious glaze that kind of helps everything caramelize. Just don't touch. My husband is a messer. He likes to stir and touch and check, and you know, sometimes when you're especially wanting a good sear or some good grill marks, you got to just set it and let it go, because the more you mess with it, the longer it's going to take, and the harder it's going to be to get those nice marks that you're looking for.
Rachel Robinson asked, what is that grill pan, what is the pan called again? And yum, that sounds good.
Hey Rachel, that is our double grill pan. We also have a single grill pan, and you get the cast iron presses. I I definitely recommend getting them. You can get the presses separately, but you save a fair amount of money getting it all as a set. And so what I typically do with meat is I preheat these with the grill pan, so that when I'm putting my chicken or my pork chop or, you know, whatever on there, I put the press on top so it's cooking from both sides. And it helps it cook quicker and more evenly. And I let it cook about 2/3 of the way like that, and then I usually do a little flip just to help finish off that top, because, you know, the presses, as they're on top of the meat, they're not directly on the heat. They are cast iron, so they hold a lot of heat, but they do start to cool as the process goes on. So, but, you know, standard chicken breast that isn't, you know, an inch thick like what we've been getting, you can cook in maybe 5-6 minutes because you're cooking from both sides. So it goes really quick. And so these are nice, and that's just going to help the pound cake retain its moisture as it grills. And so I think actually I'm going to go ahead and turn on this back burner as well. And come on. I'm going to go ahead and actually, I don't need those. Put these on the back here so that those can get going while our pineapple is still cooking. And so, oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, this smell. This smells so good. So I'm starting to get some grill lines. Not too crazy dark. If I wasn't doing a live video, I would probably let them keep going. But because I know that you guys have an evening and a life to get back to, we're not going to stay on it too long. But so what this one does is it really just caramelizes those sugars in the, not only the marinade, but in the pineapple itself. And so it just brings out all that natural sweetness. The cinnamon helps bring out the natural sweetness. Cinnamon is a nice little trick that if your child doesn't like vegetables, you know, adding it to naturally sweet vegetables like carrots, particularly, or sweet potatoes. Those are the two that I typically use it with. But adding that when you are doing, if you do oil or butter, whatever you cook with, salt, and then a little sprinkle of cinnamon, it really helps enhance those natural flavors to bring that natural sweetness out without adding any fat or calories or anything that you don't necessarily want yourself or your kids to have. But it really enhances the experience and can help push them into being willing to try more things. And that's great for, I particularly like it for roasting, but if you are going to do a skillet sauteing them, that's another great way to do it. So, you know, we moms got to be a little creative sometimes to get our littles or our husbands to eat what we need them to. And if I'm going to be honest, sometimes, you know, I need a little enhancement too. Let's see, I think that I've talked about everything over there. So I'm going to pull the ice cream out. John is, if you hear that slurping sound, that is John stealing some pineapple.
Waste not, want not.
I'm going to get the ice cream out. And so I have a couple bowls here. John.
I can't see it.
Going to use our ice cream scoop. You see these, this is shaped a little bit differently than probably most ice cream scoops that you've seen before. But these pieces really help with hard ice cream to kind of dig into it. And we're actually not going to use a ton of ice cream. That's one of the nice things about doing something like this, is that you're enhancing it with fruit, which is natural and good for you. And I'm of the personal belief that ice cream is good for you too. But, you know, but so you don't have to do a super ton of it. And so, I'm gonna stick that back in the freezer.
Hey babe, I think these are they're right there. Yeah, a little bit longer, I guess. Sorry. I like to touch the food.
I am very lucky to have an on-hands guy in the kitchen. But yeah. So a couple of these pieces are getting some nice grill marks. And, you know, like I said, if I wasn't going live, I would totally be letting this sit a little bit longer, get a little better grill marks on them. But I think that I'm going to go ahead and dish this up. So what I like to do is do a couple pieces there, and throw a couple pieces on there, and you have a yummy grilled pineapple dessert. And you know, the optional, we happen to have it in the freezer. You can just do ice cream, okay, the fruit, that would be a great dessert. And combination right here, or any of these kind of on their own, it are just really great options. And again, you can do this on your grill outside, but I don't want to set up a hot grill when it's already, you know, 1,000 degrees. But yeah, so thanks for joining us. I hope that this inspires you to get a little creative with your dessert. We waited till the little one was in bed because we don't want to share. But I hope that you guys have a good night. Thanks for joining me.